Hello, my name is Bailey Howell. I have 4 years of fire experience. I'm currently in Instructor 1 and I am teaching all about fire hoses today. We'll go over some of the sizes, the uses, application, maintenance, and testing. So first things first, we have small diameter hose. It is usually between 1 and 2 inches. Some apparatuses will have a booster reel with a booster line that is 3/4 to 1 inch, which would be for your trash fires, vehicle fires, or maybe overhaul. Forestry hose is 1 inch because you can imagine carrying anything bigger than that. Trying to fight a forest fire would be terrible. A tack line is defined as one and a half to inch or 1 3/4 inch hose. Some departments will use 2 inches though, 2-inch hose. And the hose sections are 50-foot sections most of the time, so you'll have multiple sections of hose for your attack lines. Does anybody have any questions over this so far?
Is it just 50 foot or do they make 100 foot?
They make 100-foot sections, like a front bumper pre-connect would sometimes be 100 foot, or your hotel pack.
Okay. They make them smaller than 50 foot?
Smaller than 50 foot? I don't know. I'll have to research that. Okay. I'm sure they do, but I haven't ever seen one before. So I'll write the next couple points on the board. Here is an 1 3/4 hose that y'all can look at. If you notice, it's a threaded coupling with the Higby cut on it, so you know where to align them when you're doing the threads.
Okay.
Okay?
And you said it's called a what?
Higby cut.
Gotcha. What's this piece inside of it here?
That is a rubber gasket to prevent leaks.
Okay, does it come out?
Yes, sometimes they can dry rot and you'll need to replace them if you do a hose test, which we'll talk about later.
Okay.
Then we will check for those if they're leaking and we can replace them as we go. So next we'll talk about medium diameter hose, which is usually 2.5 to 3 inches. They can be supply or attack lines. So what did I say the 1 inch to 2 inch was? Supply or attack?
Attack.
There you go, attack, yeah. Supply or attack. So 3-inch hose can also be used. 3-inch is most of the time can be used as an attack, but when it's used as an attack, it's supplying a master string most of the time. I would not want to carry around a 3-inch attack line. And these also would come in 50-foot sections. So most brush trucks or things like that can have the 2.5 or 3-inch size line to be their supply lines instead of the 5-inch that you'd have on a regular fire truck or a pumper. Obviously, you're not going to get quite as much water from the smaller hose, but it's still effective if you're in a pinch and you can't access the amount of water you need to.
What would you use the 2.5 inch for? Like if you were using that for?
You could use it, so like I said, supply or attack. If you're using it as supply, I already said, if you're using it as attack, could be you going defensive on a fire, you'll be sitting in the front yard with a 2.5-inch hose spraying it from the outside, or sometimes they'll want a 2.5 inside for interior attack. It just depends on preference and I guess ability to move it. And then this would be your 2.5. It's a little bigger than the 1 3/4, obviously. There you go, Spencer.
Cool. Does that have the same hippie cut or Higby cut?
It does, it does. like I said, you just align them. I'm not gonna unroll the whole thing because we don't have the room in here, but there's a little Higby cut right there on the outside, and you line them up and it makes it easier to thread it.
Okay.
So now we're going to,
Is this the removable O-ring too?
correct, gasket, O-ring, whatever you wanna call it.
Okay.
It's gonna prevent the leaks unless
Gotcha.
it's dry rotted.
Check.
Large diameter hose is 3.5 to 6. I've never seen 6-inch line, but the book states there's a 6-inch supply line. Okay, large diameter hose include 3.5 to 6-inch. Standard would be 4 to 5-inch. Some of our older pieces of equipment still have 4-inch, but our newer equipment have 5-inch because we can get more water through them. And they also come in 50 to 100 foot, but we can cut them and put the connection on it to make it easier for drivers to get supply to the truck. There you go. It's a different type of connection. It's called a Stort's connection.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got these two posts that you line up and you twist it and it locks in place.
Okay.
Okay? Okay.
I see this has the O-ring as well.
It does. Same. You can use it for the same thing. Yes, Spencer.
How short would you cut them?
You can cut them as short as you want, but most people use it, like I said, for a driver in the driver's box would be 33 foot.
Okay.
And most of the time they'll have more than one.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Talk about the nozzles and some of the uses and application further. So what else can you use the inch and 3/4 line for? Like what would be 4 things y'all can think of that might be on the test lane?
That we could use the hose for?
Yes.
Well, you said attack lines.
Okay, so you'd say interior fire attack?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about exterior fire attack? I mean, you could use those outside too.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I mentioned something earlier with the booster line. What you could use it for, possibly?
Overhauling?
No.
Car fires?
Vehicle fires, and there's one more. Think of you
Grass
can-
fires?
No.
Oh.
You can do it on a fire scene, but most of the time when we think of it, we think of a hazmat scene.
Overhaul.
No.
Decon?
Decon. There you go.
Wash my car.
Spencer gets a gold star.
Good job.
All right. Do y'all remember what the L and LDH stands for?
Lincoln.
No.
Large.
No. Large. There you go. We'll come back to that in a minute. So these are your 2 different types of nozzles. You got a smooth bore and a fog nozzle. Okay. They have different preferences for different people.
Okay.
So this one's a 2.5 smooth bore. You can take off the tips to adjust how much water is coming out.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it shows you, it's got a little
Is that what the numbers here?
diagram, yeah,
Okay. Alright.
pressure, and then it gives you the GPMs with the pressure with this tip on.
Gotcha.
And then
Okay.
this one is an 1 3/4. It came off the front bumper of a piece of equipment. And you can dial it back to how much comes out of this as well. It's got a bell on it just like that one, or a handle. And you can adjust it like this.
Mm-hmm.
And they say that the fog nozzle needs 100 pounds of pressure to properly operate the bell for these nozzles anyway. So you gotta make sure you have at least that.
Okay.
You can look at that one. So I'll take a look at that. Another thing that comes up when you're talking about hose would be foam. Different types of foam can be used for different things. We carry Class A foam for Class A fires, heavy fire load, smother it, and we also have the AR triple F for other types of fires like polar solvents and hydrocarbons, like fuel. What, I mentioned it earlier, what is the type of hose on, that's usually the 1.5 inch or the inch hose on a reel?
Hose for real.
Booster hose, yep,
And you said the booster line they could use for grass fires,
They
car
could,
fires,
Uh-huh.
and overhaul.
That is correct.
Okay.
So maintenance, you wanna make sure, obviously annually, you're gonna test them. Per the book, it states that, where is it? It states that a tack hose should be tested at 300 PSI and it is designed to use up to 275 PSI. And supply line should be tested at 200 PSI and should be used at 185 PSI. But that'll obviously differ between municipalities, SOPs, SOGs, things like that. And then the maintenance, after a fire, you wanna wash the hose. Different departments have different ways of washing it. You can have a device that you put on the hydrant and you put the hose through and it rinses it. It has water shooting out of all sides and rinses it. You run it through and then you hang it up to dry, so it doesn't dry rot or anything bad happen to it. Or you can use obviously mild soap and water, just like everything else in the fire service.
Why do they clean them?
They can have different things on them from being in the house, and it also prevents us from getting contaminated from what was ever touching the hose.
Okay.
Because when it's being dragged through a house, it's gonna get all the ash and all the cancer-causing materials on the hose, and you're touching it, and then you touch your face, and it's just not good, you know?
Gotcha. Makes
Okay.
sense.
Any more questions about anything? No, no,
I can't think of any, not right off.
okay.
Or we'll be here for a while, when we come back. If I think of some.
I will, I'll be here all day.
Okay.
Already asked you that one.
I do have a question. It says the service test on this one is 400.
Yeah, it does. So like I said, it just differs between manufacturers, municipalities, things like that. What I read, what I told y'all came off the book. Like I said, municipalities and manufacturers make it work.
Okay. What's the NFPA standard for fire hose?
NFPA 1962 to test fire hose. Like this hose says tested at 400 for this 2.5-inch line.
Okay.
The book may be outdated possibly, I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that for you.
Okay. Check your sources. I like.
True or false? Large hose is considered any hose over 2 inch in diameter.
False.
It is true.
Oh.
I thought 2 to
We
3
use-
was medium diameter.
Yeah.
This states. I'm not real sure actually.
See, we got some inconsistencies here.
I'll have to look back at the test and get back with you.
Okay.
I agree with y'all, but the test says otherwise.
Okay. All right.
Do y'all know what a water hammer is?
Is that a hammer made of water?
No, it is not a hammer made of water. Any other takers?
No, I couldn't even begin to tell you.
That was a nice try though.
I appreciate it.
So say you shut your pump in a line and you slam it shut real quick, it's gonna send water and vibrations all the way down the hose. It can possibly rupture couplings or mess other things up, maybe inside the pump.
So when you say slam it, you mean just picking the hose up and
No,
slamming
like
it?
at the pump panel,
Okay.
if you slammed it shut, it would cause the water hammer to go down.
Gotcha.
Would the same thing happen if I close this real quick?
Yes, that would
Okay.
cause the water hammer the other way.
Cool.
That's what, like I was saying, going into the pump, it can mess something up, you know?
That doesn't sound like it's a good thing.
No, it's not. Like I said, it can rupture the hose, the couplings, and cause other damage.
Okay.
Everybody good with that?
Can we test that later?
I wouldn't suggest it, but you can talk to your lieutenant and try it later. I'm sure the lieutenant in here in the lieutenant's office would love to have y'all try a water hammer outside.
Okay.
Alright.
Let's see if we can build one.
All right. Any other questions? Concerns?
Mm-mm.
All right. we'll go over the skill drill that we're gonna do outside. Won't take long. So what we're gonna be doing is draining a water hose that has been used for what?
Firefighting operations.
Okay. So we'll roll it out a little bit. So this hose would be on the ground and would be ready to be drained.
Uh-huh.
We would lay the hose flat, and you can see. And then we're gonna pick it up from this end, put it over our shoulder, and as we walk down, we're gonna fold it like this, over our shoulder, and keep going.
Okay.
You don't want to pull it towards you while you're doing it. You don't want to stand in one place and just accordion lay it over your shoulder.
Okay.
You want to walk with it, and then you can put it up how it should be after it is drained.
Okay.
Any questions about that?
What's the benefit of throwing it over your shoulder?
Easier to carry.
Okay.
You're not having to bend down because you're already pulling it up,
Okay.
and it's already on your shoulder. And
Gotcha.
then you can do whatever you need to with it.
Do you have to do it from that end, or can you do it from the other end, or does it matter which end you
It
start?
doesn't matter. Most places prefer, if you're doing a donut roll, prefer the female end to be out to show that it's in service, and when you roll it out, you'll have the male at the other end, but like I said, different departments may want different things. It also protects the male end when you roll it inside of the donut.
When you say protects it, what's protected?
The threads on the coupling.
Okay.
As you can see here, the
Okay.
threads are protected, so if you drop it, not really anything can get to the threads.
Gotcha.
Which will make it, if you keep it protected, it'll make it easier to use in the future.
Okay.
You good?
I'm good.
Everybody good? We'll go outside and do the skill drill for just a minute, and then we'll be done.
Okay.
Alright, so now we will be demonstrating how to drain a hose. This is an 1 3/4 hose. We're limited on our space right now. First, you'll lay it out flat all the way, as you can see, starting down there, coming this way. And you'll lift it over your shoulder, and you'll slowly walk and fold it over your shoulder as you walk. And keep going until all the water is drained out and you are at the end of the hose, until the end. And then, like I said earlier, you can put it down wherever it needs to go. After that, it'll be drained, it'll be ready to put up. You don't want to put it over your shoulder and stand in one place and pull it to you as you go. That's not what you want to do for the skill. Spencer, if you can pull that in towards the door. And if I can have somebody come test their skills. Dustin, step right up. So this usually would be flattened all the way out 50 foot. We don't have the room, so we're just going to do it from here. Start walking towards it, okay. See, he's folding it over his shoulder, walking with it, not pulling it towards him. Very good, very good. And he's going to go all the way until the end to drain the hose. All right, that's good. Roll it back off. We'll let one more person try, unless both people want to try. Pull that way for me. Perfect. All right, Brian's going to do it, and then we'll wrap up this presentation. Good job. Good job.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, he's putting it over his shoulder. He's going to walk it out by folding it all the way down. There we go. If you feel good with it, you can stop or you can keep going, either one. Good?
Good.
He's good. Any more questions? Spencer, come here.
I thought you just said 2, sir.
No, you're good. I just wanted. Any more questions from anybody?
No, sir.
Any questions?
No, sir. No, sir.